HOA tried to fine me for ammo storage. I hosted a National Guard drill on my driveway instead. Have you ever had a neighbor try to control your life over something as personal as your own property? That's exactly what happened to Marcus, a National Guard reservist who thought he'd found peace in a quiet suburban neighborhood. But when his HOA sent him a fine for improper storage of ammunition in his garage, citing a vague rule about hazardous materials, the stage was set for a battle that would shake the cul-de-sac to its core. What followed was a clash of wills, a twist of defiance, and a lesson in standing your ground that nobody in the neighborhood would forget. Marcus wasn't your typical homeowner, a disciplined soldier with tours in conflict zones under his belt. He'd settled into the Willow Creek community in Arizona to enjoy a slower pace of life. His garage was his sanctuary, a neatly organized space where he kept his tools, camping gear, and, yes, a locked safe containing ammunition for his service weapon, stored securely per state regulations. He wasn't reckless. He followed every law, including Arizona's lenient firearm storage rules, ensuring his ammo was locked away, inaccessible to anyone but him. But Karen, the HOA president with a knack for peering over fences, had other ideas. She'd spotted a delivery truck dropping off a crate one day and, after some neighborhood gossip, decided Marcus was running a dangerous operation. Without evidence, she slapped him with a $500 fine and a letter demanding he remove all hazardous materials or face a lien on his home. The accusation stung. Marcus had served his country, protected lives, and now his own community was treating him like a criminal. He tried reasoning with Karen at the next HOA meeting, presenting proof that his storage complied with state law and was no more dangerous than a propane tank for a grill. Karen, perched at the head of the table, dismissed him with a wave. Rules are rules, Marcus. We can't have explosives in our community. Think of the children. The room murmured agreement, swayed by her theatrics, though Marcus noticed a few neighbors shifting uncomfortably. He left the meeting furious but determined. If the HOA wanted to play dirty, he'd show them what hazardous really looked like legally, of course. Marcus didn't just roll over. He dug into the HOA's bylaws and Arizona state law, discovering that the hazardous materials clause was so vague it could mean anything from paint cans to perfume. More importantly, he found that HOAs couldn't override state law, which explicitly allowed his secure ammo storage. Armed with this, he appealed the fine, but Karen and her board doubled down, claiming their authority was final. That's when Marcus got creative. If they wanted to nitpick his property, he'd give them something to really complain about. As a National Guard reservist, he had connections and an idea. He called his commanding officer and proposed hosting a small training drill on his property. It was his right, after all, and the HOA couldn't dictate what he did on his own land, especially for official military business. Enter Sergeant Lopez, a no-nonsense Guard veteran who loved a challenge. Lopez wasn't part of the plan initially, but when Marcus explained the HOA's overreach, she was all in. "Let's give him a show," she said with a grin. She coordinated a squad of 8 reservists for a community outreach drill on Marcus's driveway, complete with tactical gear, a Humvee, and a mock logistics exercise. The plan was simple. Follow all laws, stay on Marcus's property, and make enough noise to remind the HOA who they were messing with. Lopez also suggested inviting the neighborhood kids to watch, framing it as a patriotic display to soften the optics. Marcus agreed, sensing the twist this would add to his rebellion. The morning of the drill, Willow Creek woke to the rumble of military vehicles. Marcus's driveway transformed into a mini staging ground. Reservists in full gear ran through a simulated supply drop, barking orders and unloading crates, filled with sandbags, not ammo, while the Humvee idled loudly. Neighbors peeked from windows, some curious, others horrified. Karen, predictably, stormed over, her phone already recording. "This is outrageous," she shrieked. "You're turning our neighborhood into a war zone." Marcus, leaning casually against his garage, pointed out that he was well within his rights. "This is my property, Karen, and this is official National Guard business. Want to call the cops?" She hesitated, knowing she'd lose that fight. The twist came when the neighborhood kids showed up, wide-eyed and waving tiny American flags Lopez had handed out. Their parents, initially wary, started asking questions. One neighbor, Tom, a quiet accountant who'd never spoken to Marcus before, approached. "Is this because of the HOA?" he whispered. Marcus nodded, explaining the ammo fine. Tom's face hardened. "They fined me last month for leaving my trash can out an extra day. Karen's out of control." Suddenly, Marcus wasn't alone. Tom rallied other neighbors, and whispers of discontent spread. The drill, meant to annoy the HOA, had sparked a rebellion. Karen's power began to crumble. At the next HOA meeting, she tried to spin the drill as a safety violation. But Marcus was ready. He presented a petition signed by 20 neighbors demanding a review of the HOA's overreaching rules. Tom, now an unlikely ally, stood up and shared his own story of petty fines, emboldening others to speak out. A retired lawyer in the crowd pointed out that the HOA's vague, hazardous materials rule was unenforceable under state law, citing precedents Marcus had researched. Karen's face reddened as her allies on the board squirmed. When the vote came to rescind Marcus's fine, it passed overwhelmingly. She was outmaneuvered, her authority exposed as a house of cards. The fallout was swift. Karen stepped down as HOA president, claiming personal reasons. But the neighborhood knew better. The new board, led by Tom, revised the bylaws to limit overreach and prioritize transparency. Marcus's ammo stayed in his safe, untouched, and he became a local hero of sorts. Kids still waved when they saw him, remembering the cool army soldiers on his driveway. The drill hadn't just cleared his finite, had united a community tired of living under petty tyranny. Marcus's stand wasn't about defiance for defiance's sake. It was about principle. No one, not even a nosy HOA, could strip him of his rights without a fight. His story spread beyond Willow Creek, inspiring others to challenge overzealous HOAs. It showed that one person, armed with knowledge and a clever plan, could turn the tables on bureaucracy. So, what do you think? Was Marcus right to push back with such a bold move? Or should he have played by the HOA's rules? Share your thoughts. Where do you draw the line between personal freedom and community rules?